Good morning, everybody. This is Daniel Whited right here in Denver, Littleton, Colorado area. And we just want to welcome you to the Doctor's Clinic call. This is a new time, and we've already have double the numbers, and so it looks like it was a good move. The Dr. Kurt Fisnick is with us this morning. Doc, this is where the world is your waiting room, and it's apt, and they are kind of, you look at it like that, Doc, they are waiting on us. We've been talking about it and going with an ongoing topic of all things weight loss and detox and setting the body up to where it dumps fat versus storing fat. And I thought it was quite interesting, just in one little recap, that a person has hormones in their body that store fat, and they also have hormones that release fat. So that, to me, was just a great discovery and a process of learning. But today, Doc, we're going to get into some goals and where someone's at and kind of what they can expect. If they're willing to do the work and they're willing to keep the discipline, they're going to be able to obtain and reach some of their goals. And we might even get into hitting a goal and hitting a small little plateau. And I've got some thoughts on that we might share later. But Dr. Kurt Fisnick, welcome to the call. Good morning, sir. Take it away.
Hey, good morning, DW. I was just going to say, when you brought up the hormones and things like that, yeah, I mean, it's amazing. There's hormones that help you build fat. There's other hormones that help you burn fat. There's hormones that turn sugar into energy. There's other hormones that turn sugar into fat. And really, I mean, here we are. We're almost in March, and we're finally getting to the point where we're going to talk about setting goals. And somebody asked me earlier today, so well, shouldn't you have helped people set goals way back in December, maybe early January? And the answer really is this. I mean, DW, if I brought a deck of cards over to your house and you and me and Helen were playing a game of cards, but I didn't tell you the rules, would you have any chance of winning?
Absolutely not. Unless I got the rules, no way.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, if you didn't know the rules of the game, if you didn't know how to play, there's absolutely no way you're going to win the game.
True
right?
story.
I mean, I could change the rules as I went along, and no matter what the rules originally were, if I didn't tell you what they were, I mean, I just changed them along the way, and I could win no matter what. And that's the problem in weight loss, is that people they don't understand how difficult it really is to lose weight. I mean, I go back, I'll use myself as an example. I mean, back in high school, I was about 165, 170 pounds, and through college, I kind of stayed between 175 and 190. I bounced in that 15-pound bracket, and we all do, and you're going to have a range like that, because sometimes you're going to eat a little more, sometimes you can eat a little bit less, you're going to have water retention, different things like that, and like we'll talk about, with people, is that, I mean, sometimes you've got quite a few pounds of material, fecal material in your gut. I mean, what did you say? How many pounds did John Wayne have in his gut when he passed?
I'm telling you, man, it's one of the saddest stories. He had 50 pounds of petrified fecal matter, all because he was one of these tough guys and wouldn't get his colon checked. 100% preventable. Just absolutely, just ridiculous that happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, here's one of the heroes of the silver screen. I mean, just a big guy that a lot of people look up to, or at least in our age bracket. And 50 pounds of petrified fecal material, and most of us probably don't have petrified, but we've got a lot of gunk in there, a lot of buildup. And again, I mean, today we're talking about goals, and how can you play a game if you don't know the rules, if you don't know what's really going on? So for the past almost 7 weeks, I guess, you and I have been talking about what are the things that cause weight gain, what are the things that can help with weight loss, and kind of setting the stage and getting people to understand exactly what they need to know. I mean, the background and these hormones. I mean, yeah, you're never going to remember the names of those hormones, but you might remember how they're stimulated, and then you can relate it back to products. Because, boy, I'll tell you what, I mean, if you watch TV, in a day, if you watch 2-3 hours of TV, how many commercials would you say you see that relate to but let's just say health issues? I mean, DW, how many commercials would you say that in a couple hour period of time relate to health issues, not specifically weight loss, but health?
Doc, there's tons. I mean, you got to say over 50, 60%, and all the way from, and all these weight loss things they have on here. Buy these meal packages, and a person can take a meal package and a pre-prepared meal and lose some weight. But at some point in your life, you got to learn to cook. Because you're not going to buy boxed meal packages for the rest of your life. It's just not affordable. But, so there's tons of those. There's tons of get more testosterone, build muscle, lose weight, on and on, just all kinds of shortcuts. And most of the stuff is shortcuts. And then all these, what, Doc, here's the crazy thing. All the side effects to everything that they're talking about on these commercials is absolutely devastating to the body. The side effects are crazy. They're off the charts, damaging to the entire system. And you talk about you want to reap havoc on your system. Man, follow some of their instructions. Our side effects is, you get better, you get healthier, your cells get rebuilt, your muscles get stronger, your chubbiness goes away. And so, pretty good side effect there, Doc. Back at you, buddy.
You bet. I mean, and so here we are. We're almost to the end of February, and next week it'll be the end of February, it'll be the 1st of March, and already by this time, over 90% of people have failed on their New Year's resolutions. They've already given up. They've already thrown in the towel and just said, "Nope, not going to do it. Not going to happen this year." And that's because maybe they were a little unrealistic on their weight loss goals. Maybe they were a little bit unrealistic on the time frame that they wanted to do it. And maybe they didn't understand what it was going to take, right? I mean, how can you play if you don't know what you got to do? And so I think in a lot of ways we're set up for failure. We're set up to go on a weight loss plan, and all of a sudden you get hungry again. And so when you're hungry, I mean, you're going to eat. Most people are going to eat, and they're going to eat the wrong food because you're not going to crave a carrot. You're gonna crave something that's gonna boost the serotonin levels up, which might be a candy bar, it might be a bag of potato chips or something like that. But so people are gonna choose the wrong food, and then when they start to fail on their weight loss plan, then they get stressed out, right? And when they're stressed out, again, I mean, DW, when you're stressed out, do you? I mean, you might, but most people, they're not going to crave good foods, right?
Oh, no, not at all. When you're stressed, you go to comfort food. Are you kidding me? Matter of fact, you can even have happy stress. You go to comfort food. People say, what are you talking about? Well, you go to a ball game or you watch a Super Bowl. Woohoo! It's comfort food, man. And so you're tempted into that because your brain loves little things that make you feel good, but your cells love food that gives them energy and rejuvenates them. You can always look, and one of the goals you want to set, and we're talking about goals today, is set a goal to eat a little cleaner every day. I mean, just be thinking about it already. I remember back when I was young in high school, I sat down and ate a hamburger with my dad, and we went out for a hamburger. Well, he took off the top part of the bun, left the bottom part, and already realizing way back then that bread was not what it used to be. Realizing that there used to be 40% protein in wheat, and now there's less than 7% protein. You could eat a lot more bread back in the day, and biscuits and gravy, and not balloon out as big as a New Year's, Good Year's blimp or whatever. And so Doc so he took that piece of bread off, and then he would take this off, and then he just little at a time he backed off to where he got himself at the weight that he wanted, and he's maintained it for years. And and so it's. But if you start eating a little bit cleaner, understanding what's good for your system. If you eat a meal and an hour and a half later or an hour you're sleepy and you're lethargic, then that meal you have eaten is not being digested properly. So this is why slamming our balanced D is a big deal, Doc, when it comes to eating clean. You say balanced D, well, that helps the digestive tract assimilate the food. Food doesn't have the enzymes in it that it used to have. So, you want to do things that's going to give you the maximum amount of enzymes so your food's digested. Your body's designed to digest half the food, and the food's supposed to have its own natural enzymes to digest the other half. And when it doesn't have its enzymes in it, now you got to digest 100%. No wonder you're lethargic and tired and exhausted. And so set a goal to use the tools that we have to eat cleaner. And one of those goals that is this, find out anything that has sugar in it, you need to put your fastest pair of tennis shoes on and run as far away from it as you can. So set that goal. I'm just getting sugar out. And then you work on maybe starch the next week once you've mastered sugar and got through those little I call them demonic headaches that come back and say, I got to have my sugar. I mean, it's crazy, the sugar cravings people will have. Well, set yourself up, maybe hit a couple Ultramaxes during that time frame while you're getting rid of the sugar and the pop and the caffeine and those things that will destroy your system. And I'm not talking about, there is healthy caffeine like what's in a handful of grapes or in a banana or in oranges. There's energy component. We call it really an energy component, but it's similar to caffeine. And so, Doc, when people set goals, set a goal right now today. I'm going to eat just a little bit cleaner. And every time that you find out, and here's another goal, write down when you crave things. My favorite time is about 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. I love snackies. And if I had my way, I'd eat a bag of chips and dunk a whole bunch of cookies. So we don't buy chips that are bad for you, and we don't buy cookies. I mean, we just don't. So we've made a decision already, just boom, cut that out. So when we're eating clean, you won't find that stuff in the house. And so set a goal to clean your cupboards. Set a goal to clean out your fridge, get rid of junk. Danielle Lee called me early this morning, and I said, what are you doing? She goes, I'm getting the junk out of my fridge, Dad. And, and you do this because junk just somehow creeps back in there. You have some people over, and they bring extra this and that and whatever. So a really good goal, that we'll get into some other goals in a minute, but a good goal, Doc, is get the cupboards clean of junk that's not good for you at all. And so where do you start with that? Well, start with everything you can get your hands on that's low glycemic. That's a really good place to start. And there's a lot of foods out there that are low glycemic. And, so Doc, that's kind of what I have to say there. So I think that little goal right there, eating cleaner by getting and cleaning the cupboards in the fridge, then your colon's going to get cleaner, your body's going to get cleaner. But if you keep putting junk in, man, you're just reaping havoc on your system.
You bet, yeah, and and I talked to a lot of people about that. It's difficult to say, I'm going to change everything in my life and I'm going to be totally healthy this year and everything's going to be perfect. What if you just say, I'm going to start out, I'm going to make a 10% change. I'm going to change, 10% of the things that I do are going to be healthy for me. I'm going to take and I'm going to get rid of those toxic shampoos and toothpaste and things like that. And what does that have to do with weight loss? A lot. Because of the BPA, because of the chemicals that are in those products, they get into your system and they cause you to retain weight. They cause you to retain weight because of the toxicity. So that makes a difference. Well, talking about weight loss and setting your weight loss goals, sometimes I think people, they look at the scale maybe and they go, man, that's too difficult to fathom. So maybe take a look at what size clothing you wear today. Maybe, you're fitting into a size 38 jean and you want to get down into a loose-fitting 36, right? Or just find something that you want to set as your goal. And that's really realistic. I mean, if you set your goal somewhere between, 10 to 25%, right? You're gonna be able to achieve that. If you say, I'm going to lose 50% of my weight, I mean, it's a big goal. You can do it. Last week, last Tuesday, we had Jimmy O'Keefe on, and what did he say? He's lost 292 pounds now?
It is a bunch. I think it's over the 200 mark, no doubt. Between him and Anne-Marie, I think that's correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a holy cow. That's a lot of weight to lose, and most people can't imagine that. But I mean, that's over a 4-year period of time. But he really did good on his first few months as well, because I mean, his doctor was telling him that he was going to have this weight loss surgery where they went in and either did the stomach stapling or the band or something like that. And he got on this program, and he was able to beat that, and his doctors told him that, yeah, you just keep doing what you're doing. And now you look at him, and he's just a really good example for all of us of what we can do when you set your goals. So I mean, for me, I look at what motivated me. I was out elk hunting in November, and a herd of elk got away from me because I couldn't make it up the mountain fast enough. And a lot of it is related to my weight, but also related to my leg, because of my motorcycle wreck. But my weight adds to my leg problem because the more weight I have to carry. So that was what really motivated me. But on the backside, I've wanted to get back into shape. I mean, round's a shape, but it's not shape that I want to be in. And so I'm working on that. And so I started going to the gym. I'm building muscle. And do you have to go to the gym? I mean, I'd say that there's probably a certain percentage of people that don't have to because of their work, because of their lifestyle. But for the majority of us, we have sedentary lives. And, yeah, you need to do something. If you're not going to a gym, if you live in a rural area, you need to figure out something at home. And it might be as simple as just setting up a program, buying some DVDs and doing a program at home and sticking to it. I mean, that's the I think the biggest problem is, like I said, I mean, here we are, we're not even to the third month of the year, and 90% of people have already failed. And so we want to take a look at that. Some other things, BMI, the body mass index. You wanna try and get your body mass index down to less than 25 if you can. And so look at that. If you're doing this to get into health, you want to have a weight to hip ratio that's lower than 0.8 or lower than 1. If you're a woman, and lower than 1 if you're a man. And you want to take a look at the different things as far as things like that, and getting your heart health back and all of that. And so what I try and tell the people is that setting your goal for a realistic goal, and then going, okay, how long can I do it? Like, I'm going to use, again, I like to use myself as an example. January 1st, I started out at 280 pounds, and back 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I was at 200 pounds. And so I gained almost 30% of my body weight in the last 10 years of my life. And a lot of it's related to my motorcycle accident, because I spent 2 years really beat up in a wheelchair, and I realize now that I probably went through some depression and just didn't want to be with people, didn't want to really do anything, and that has a factor to do with it too. And then you have a lack of energy, and your metabolism goes down. So you have to figure out how to address those issues, which that's what DW and I are talking about in this calls. And so as you listen to this call, and we're going to continue this probably almost into summer, just talking about the different factors related to weight loss. But then you got, okay, so how fast can you lose it, right? I mean, if I'm trying to lose 80 pounds, how fast can I realistically lose it? Well, in the first month, I lost over 20 pounds. Most of that is water weight. You're going to lose a lot of water weight when you hear people say, oh, I lost 20 or 30 pounds in the first month. That's not fat loss. Most of that is water weight. And then at the second month, so now here in February, now I'm really on the fat loss. I'm burning the fat, and I'm going to continue to burn fat through the year. So you have to realize that. And then you really want to set it up in a way that over the course of the weight loss period, a good rule of thumb is 1.5 to 2 pounds per week average. 1.5 to 2 pounds per week average. So let's just say 2 pounds per week average. So that means that if I stick with this over the course of the next 40, from the beginning, over the course of 40 weeks, I'm going to lose that 80 pounds. Now, I already lost 30, so that means I have 50 to go. And you're going, well, you're losing it faster than the 2 pounds. Yeah, I am, because I lost a lot of water weight in the beginning, and you lose more because you have a higher percentage to lose. When you get down to the last 5 or 10 pounds, expect that it's going to come off slowly. Like I tell people that it's going to take you 2 months to lose the last 10 pounds if you're doing it right. To lose the last 10 pounds. That's why most people, they get down within 10 pounds of their goal weight and they quit, because they don't realize that those last 10 pounds come off more slowly. And the reason why is that, I mean, let's just say that I'm at 210 and I want to be at 200. So I'm going to burn it a lot slower, because I can't eat that much less to burn it off. And so what I try and look at, okay, how do you do these things? What do you set up for calories? I mean, you really do have to count some calories. Some people, some programs might tell you don't. I really believe that you do. And then you have to have your percentage of fat and proteins and all that worked out as well. And DW and I can go over that with you as well. But what I use kind of as a rule of thumb, if I want to be at 200 pounds, I take and look based on my metabolic rate, basal metabolic rate, how many calories am I burning per day, and then what I want to do, how many calories per day am I burning at that weight? So if I want to be 200, roughly, just as a quick guesstimate for most people, you can say you burn about 10 calories per pound if you have an average lifestyle. So that's 2,000 calories per day. So I need to subtract 500 off of that. So I'm down at 1,500. If you're trying to be 180 pounds and you use the same figures, so that's 1,800 calories per day. Subtract 500, and you're down to 1,300 calories per day. If you're trying to be 140, if you're a female and you're trying to be 140, that's 1,400 calories minus 500. So you're at 900. So in order to get to your goal weight, you're doing a very low calorie diet, and you're cutting those calories back. And if you follow that, it's going to bring you down to that last 10 pounds, taking you 2 months to do, following that as a general rule of thumb. Now, sometimes we have to bump that up and add a little bit. Sometimes we actually have to cut that back a little bit if you have a more sedentary lifestyle. And what that's going to do is it's going to set you into what we call a ketotic state, or ketotic state, where you're making ketones in your body, and you can go to a pharmacy and you can pick up keto sticks and you can measure that. But it's going to put you into some mild ketosis, which means that you're burning fat as energy. And that's really what you want. I mean, you want to burn the fat, you want to retain all your lean muscle, and you're gonna feel hungry. And DW and I covered this a couple weeks ago. The hormones that cause hunger. We covered the different products that Sisel has that can kind of curb the hunger pains, right? And then you're going to have to watch what you eat. And so knowing the right amount of proteins, knowing the right amount of fats, knowing the right amount of carbs that you need, and so those are things that we've covered. You're also going to find that you're going to have cravings, and we talked about the hormones that really regulate the cravings and things that you can take, different products that we can take for that. I mean, again, for me right now, I'll tell you, I'm sticking to about 1,300 calories per day, and really, I would say 90% of the time, I don't have any hunger pains at all, because I'm taking the right products. I'm taking the products that Tom has formulated. I'm using the Sisel Lean Shake, which is really good for filling you up. I mean, I can take one of those, and my hunger pains are gone, and I feel full for a good 3-4 hours after taking one of those, and then using the forced wind, it helps kind of force your body to release the fats so that you can burn them as energy. One of the problems with burning fat as energy is that the fat is a storage area for a lot of your toxins, and we talked about that. What was that, 2 weeks ago, DW? We talked about toxins, and if you want to cover that a little bit, some of the products that we have with Sisel that can kind of take those toxins out of your body.
Well, I mean, when your body starts dumping fat is a toxin. And if you're not prepared for that fat dumpage, you can clog up your system. So one of the very first things we love to see people participate in, and that's our Fecal for a few days, because it's a mild cleanse to the liver and the kidneys, and it gets the liver and kidneys ready to process and dump the fat properly. It's a very, very, very important step. And then depending on what's going on with your eliminator, you want to get your eliminator eliminating, but you also want to go through what we call seasonal detox, and we do that with our Supra Detox. And our Super Detox is set up to, every time the seasons change, when you go, like, from right now, we're from winter to spring, then you want to take that, and you go from spring to summer, you want to take it again. You go from summer to fall, and then from fall to winter. Well, if your eliminator's not working, then you participate with taking one of those, maybe a Sunday night, a Wednesday night, and as well throughout the week, just to keep the eliminator flowing and things moving through. So when Doc's talking about find out what your calorie intake is, and and kind of where you're at with your calorie intake, and transition out of eating bad carbs into good carbs. And so a lot of people can lose some weight by transitioning the bad carbs out and the good carbs in. But once you find out where you're at losing weight, I mean, if it's 1,500 calories, if it's 1,200, if it's 1,300, or whatever it is, and that works for you, that's good. Something I was going to say earlier too is when you're craving some things like say chippies late at night, do a half a shake, do a quarter of a shake. Get the chocolate one and set the shake in the fridge for a little bit and eat it like you would a dessert, like a pudding or something. And psychologically, that really helps you. Makes a big difference. Another detox that we have that really is really massively good for your body is a product called Body Shield, and that helps detox. A product that we have that helps move the weight through your system as well is our omega pluses and the omega fish oils, along with the coenzyme Q10 that helps strengthen the bottom of your heart muscle. And so you want that muscle to be strong. So don't be afraid to do some exercises with your arms below your heart muscle, and then do some with your arms above your heart muscle. And maybe even just small little weights, and just kind of do a scissor motion forward to your chest and back out, and to your chest and back out with your arms above it. And that works different parts of the heart as well. And so there's so many goals, but when you set a goal, find out what your body's going to do, and let it, as you get healthy, it'll start dropping weight. It just will start doing it. It'll go into resistance. It'll hit a set point. Sometimes you'll hit a weight that you was at for a long, long time, and your body thinks okay, all right, we're trying to get down to that point. So you lose 20 pounds, and you go from 260 down to 240, and you hit a plateau. You hit a stop. Well, you might want to do some things to push yourself through the stop. And, you may want to go on a little bit of a, one thing we love to see people do that's helpful is the organic Bragg's, and this is a specific brand, apple cider vinegar, along with some of the things that they're doing. Throw a little cinnamon in it. And a little cinnamon in it is going to put you in a situation where it lowers and kind of shocks the system a little bit, but lowers the sugar levels or the insulin levels of your sugar, and lowers them. And, man, you can go on through that set point. Sometimes you may want to go 2 or 3 days and maybe exercise twice a day. Sometimes you get to a set point. This is going to sound crazy, and Doc may 100% kick me off the call for this one, but sometimes take a meal and kind of go ahead and eat something like, for an example, you can get a gluten-free pizza and eat 2 or 3 slices just to shock your system, and then move it right back into where it says reset. Oh, okay, we got to burn weight. There's more fat to burn. There's several things. We maybe even do a whole call on getting someone through the set points that they have, or hitting it a little bit from a different angle for a few days so the body moves on through it. I had a nutritionist tell me one time, along with an MD doctor, they worked together as a team, and said, yeah, why don't you go this weekend and eat some junk meals, and then boom, hit it hard again on what you're doing. And I did, and it took me right through that set point, like bam. And so that's real important, because if you was out of weight for a long time, your body goes, okay, I'm trying to get to that weight. No, you're trying to get to a set point that's lower than that. So you got to bust on through that. Don't get discouraged with it, but you also need to mark this down in your notes today. There are times when you think you're at a set point and you're not. You think you're at a plateau and you're not. What you're doing is body composition is changing. Your body is changing. Inches are going away in certain places, and inches are being gained in others. You say, what? Absolutely. You want to gain inches, like in your arms where the muscles are. And when you gain muscle, and you lose fat, it feels like a set point. So this is why when you look at your goal, yes, your scale will give you an indication of what's happening, but your scale's not a dictator to what's actually happening, because it cannot tell when there's a conversion from fat to muscle. So I had there's a picture out there with a guy laying on his back, and his feet are up in the air, and the scale's on top of it, and he's laying on his back, and he's looking up towards the ceiling to see the scale. Sometimes that's the best way to use the scale, because it can so discourage you, because it cannot tell you when you're converting fat into muscle, all right? So your goal is to start eating clean. Your goal is to use the tools we have to help your system detox properly. Our Triangle Life is massively helps you with when it comes to free radicals in your body, and helping you with the detox as well. And so you want to make sure that you're feeding your brain the proper things when you're transitioning and losing weight. And I'm going to say something that might sound crazy to some of you, but slow is okay. A pound a week is okay. 2 pounds a week is just fine. If you're going the right direction, do the happy dance and celebrate. But what we do is we have instant everything. I mean, to sit there and we pull through a drive-through and we want that meal within 2 minutes or whatever. And if you went home to cook that meal, it would take you 30 minutes to cook it and another 10 or 15 to clean up. So you're into it 45 minutes to an hour. But we want instant microwave, instant everything, instant, fast. And a lot of times slow is better. When Tom Maurer just talked the other day about how much weight he has lost, and he did it since back in August, okay, all the way up to the 1st of February. And, and he lost that weight. When you look at how much he lost per week, it was nice and slow, very impressive. And he used our products to do it. Another product's going to help you is Transfigure is going to help you detox. Another one that's going to, and Transfigure is going to help you detox plus build muscle. And then we've got our coffee bean extract that is a game changer. And that's been the rave for 2 years now, and Tom has it at a extremely good level. So of what the ingredients are in that particular product. So there's another game changer that you can add to your system. I enjoy, now Doc's getting enough energy from his food that he's eating, and so he's not jumping on this product as much as he might have at one point in his life. But the Accelerator depends on what's going on in your body. The Accelerator is extremely helpful as well when it comes to putting your body through a 20-minute workout without actually going and working out, which is really, a lot of foods will do that for you as well. So what a great call today, Doc. We appreciate all that you're doing. Set your goals, everybody. Go ahead.
Probably one thing, I'm going to jump in real quick before we close the call. As you were talking, there was, intermittent fasting, setting yourself up every day where you have one day where you eat, and then next day, cut back a little bit, cut back even a little bit less, and let your body, like DW was saying, reset. So every other day, do an intermittent fast where you're cutting back, and then once you get to where you're losing the weight, don't strap the feed bag on, but one day a week, give yourself a day off. Like a lot of times you'll find the experts say, take Saturdays off so you can hang with your friends, you can do this, you can do that. And so you have that one day where you don't feel like you're watching everything, and then get back on it the other 6 days. But here's probably the biggest thing that I wanted to cover today is that once you set your goals, what you need to do is you need to do a little bit of setting some images, some self-images. So pull up some old pictures of yourself like I did. Find some pictures from high school and college when you were the weight that you want to be. And take those pictures and put them in places that you're going to notice it. Put it, put it on the fridge so that when you go to the fridge to get your meal, you're looking at that and you're visualizing it, and you're envisioning that's what I'm going to look like when I get done. And using some of our skincare products, I mean, you can make yourself look younger too at the same time. And then also put a picture in your bathroom, put a picture on your desk, and then alongside of that picture, and I really think this is important, you got to reward yourself. You got to reward yourself with something that you wouldn't normally get. I mean, if it's something that you're going to buy anyhow, then it's not a reward. And so you want to set yourself for a reward. When I quit smoking cigarettes almost 30 years ago, what I did is I decided I was going to buy myself a convertible sports car. I wanted a convertible sports car. I didn't know what I was going to get. So I went out and I drove a couple Porsche. I drove some sports cars. I drove some Corvettes, and then I settled on that. I wanted a classic Mustang, and so I bought myself a 1968 Mustang convertible, and my brother and I restored that thing back to original. I've had that since 6 months after I quit smoking cigarettes. Now, here's the deal on it is that, it was a reward, but you got to make a deal with yourself that if you fail, if you get to your goal weight and then all of a sudden you start putting the weight back on and you don't take it off within a certain time frame, and this is like a contract you have with yourself. I wrote a contract with myself that if I ever started smoking again, then I'm going to donate that car. I'm going to donate that 68 Mustang convertible to the American Cancer Society. I'm going to give it away as a punishment for myself, and you got to do that. But make the reward big enough that it's gonna motivate you. And have a picture of something. Like I had pictures, different convertibles. I had it under a piece of glass on my desk. So when I was sitting at my office desk, I'm looking at that, and it reminded me why I quit smoking. And same thing with the weight loss. What are you going to get yourself? And then start watching those people who are people that are at a healthy weight. What do they do? What do they do when they put on a few pounds? And you'll see them. I mean, I remember watching people that they'd go out for a weekend, and they'd say, "Oh man, I ate too much," and then they'd have 3 days where they basically starved themselves. They went through that fasting that I was talking about, and their body would say, "Oh, time to burn that off." And so those are things that we need to learn by watching other people. We can get to that healthy weight. So DW, that's all I had to cover. Sorry I had to jump back on for that.
Oh, that's awesome. There's so much when it comes to goals. There's so much when it comes to hitting your plateau. But set some goals to have some things around so when you do feel hungry, you can grab a little snack. But also keep in mind when your body's burning fat, you have the same feeling that you will have when it's hungry. So you can take a sizzling shake and it's going to burn some fat and build some muscle, and you might feel hungry an hour after a shake. Well, that means the shake's working. So that's the time to slam another, 16 ounces of water nice and slow and drink it and fill your system up. And then within maybe an hour or so after that, you grab a handful of almonds and eat some of those that are healthy for you. Go and get some organic carrots and take those carrots and wash them in the veggie cleanse that we have and which is smart to do, by the way. Another way to stop. That's called a pre-detox. You detox the junk off the food before you put it in your system. And so use a veggie cleanse, and you have those carrots ready. They're cut up. A lot of people will chop a lot of things every Sunday night, so they have stuff chopped for the whole week. And so you could do that with your spouse or one of your buddies, or if you're by yourself, you can do it with your dog, and chop up some stuff and have it ready. So when you get hungry, man, you're slamming some celery, you're chomping on some carrots, and there is a certain kind of you gotta be careful, but you can get a little sugar-free dip that you can dip the carrots into if it's sugar-free and doesn't have all the junk in it. So set a goal to set yourself up for success each and every week. Set a goal that this week and then boom, and then do your daily goals. This is what I'm doing tomorrow, and sometimes you just got to take it a day at a time. That's it for the Doctor's Clinic Call. Dr. Fizz and I can talk about this stuff for hours. We'll get into more next week, same time, same place, and we appreciate everybody being on the call. For Dr. Kirk Fizz and I, we love you, and you are absolutely amazing, and guess what? The world's your waiting room. Go make it happen.
Thanks, everyone.